Welcome everybody to Emacs ATX, our April meeting. We don't have any talks planned today, but there was a suggestion that was put into chat to talk about Emacs Lisp. So I was thinking we could just go around and whatever kind of tips that people have to kind of get into Emacs Lisp, running it, debugging it, like where to even get your toehold. I know for me, it was really kind of a big scary thing. Like, what do I even want to do? How do I even get involved or even started with this? So anyhow, I can go first. For me, the kind of the biggest, coolest thing was being able to like live evaluate code kind of inside of a buffer. So here we have just a scratch buffer, and you can see down in the stats thing, the EL, that means that this is an ELISP buffer. So let me bump up the font here actually a little bit. So if I want to say like 1 + 1 right there, I can just do like Control-C, Control-C. Oops. ELISP mode. There we go. Start complaining about.
Make your text bigger.
Can you not? Oh, okay. Yeah, let me make my text bigger. You can see. Wow, do you know anyone know how to turn all those like fly make warnings off?
Those fly checks. You just turn off fly check. Fly check mode.
There you go. So if I just hit Control-C, that's eval S expression, which I found to be really, really helpful. It'll just kind of go to the topmost set of parentheses and evaluate it. The other thing, the other way that I usually evaluate, which will bring up an eval inside the buffer. So if I wanted to say, look at some variable like called, like, let's put some variable like the split column width, or split width threshold. Here's it. Okay. Well, what's that? Oh, right. You know what it was? Is that's a variable. So it's not a function. So, right. So there's my split width threshold is 160. Now, I actually don't know. Someone who is a better eLisper than I would know what the things to the right are. So like there's the value of the variable is 160, and then I don't know, is that like that hash 0240 or hash XA0? Does that what does that mean? Does that have something to do with the memory location about where this is stored?
Yes. A0 would be 160, so I assume octal. Right?
Oh, okay.
Octal and same character.
So those are just different representations of the same.
Do 64.
Okay.
Or do 255. Right, so FF, right?
Ah, okay. Interesting. Okay. So it's just it's yeah.
As a character.
Okay.
So if you enter some, I bet you if you enter
what's a letter?
Of course, the network is very slow.
What's the snowman?
Oh, yes, 27836. Yeah, so do 127836.
Do what?
Just 127836. That's a number.
127.
836.
It's actually caused it to hang.
Oh, maybe you were going out.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it should be like the whole. Oh, you don't. Come on. Okay. Maybe because I'm text. I don't know if it's different because I'm in text mode, but that's the Unicode for bowl of noodles.
Really?
So I
Huh.
got a bowl of noodles in my R.
Is there a way to do Unicode literal, like inside of a string?
127.836, and it gave me those two things, and then
That might not be right.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway, so so the other thing that I found to be really helpful was being able to instrument a function and like do it in real time. And I'm trying to, I didn't, but if we were to like, let's make some function that's like do stuff. And then we can say like let man, problem is you spend enough time. I haven't done any ELETs in like 2 weeks, and I can't even remember the let syntax anymore. So I think it's just a list of binding expressions. So we'll make let x equals 1 plus 1, and then we want to do like what is the thing to? I think it's we want like prim1x or something like that. So we can. Do you see how I just hit Control C, and that actually evaluated the S expression. So now it actually made the function. Did I not put let in there? Oh man, wait, what happened to my let? Here we go. Okay. And then 1x. Okay, so that you see how I did a Control C, and in fact, let me. What's the variable to immediately echo characters as you do them? So if we do Control HV for describe variable, it's like echo keystrokes is. Yeah, so this is a variable for how like the delay between which it'll echo your keystrokes. So if we set up here, we can just say set q echo keystrokes to 0.01, and then I'm just going to hit Control C to evaluate that. And so now, if I'm doing like Control C, you can see it's echoing my strings right up in there. Or it's echoing the keystrokes as I stroke them. Does anyone know how to increase the font in the mini buffer?
Okay, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could bring like the messages buffer on the right or something, right? And then just make that big. We'll just,
The messages buffer up here? Oh, right. To say,
yeah.
and
And then
then
just make that big.
like that?
Yeah, and then just go bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
Okay, so remember, so I can now, I've defined that function, and so now I can actually, call it. And hopefully that'll work. I'm gonna hit Control C to evaluate that. And interesting, it did it as 22. Oh, that was the.
Evaluate again. Oh.
I don't know that this.
One of us printing it out and one's returning it.
Oh, right, got it. Yeah.
Because you can see afterwards it was octal too.
Yeah. So one of it's printing, and then actually because it's the value of the let is going to be the value of the last expression, and so the value of the function is going to be the value of the let. So what's cool is I can change this to and I can function definition by hitting Control C, And then if I invoke the function, I can Control C, there, I've got the new version. And so what I think is really cool is that you can instrument this function by sending the prefix argument to eval s expression. So if I hit Control U and then I hit Control C, now you can see it said edbug do stuff. So now this function is instrumented, and so every time I hit this function, it's gonna enter, it's gonna hit a breakpoint. And so if I hit, now I'm gonna evaluate that function again, and you can see it's actually jumped me up to the very first line of that function, and it's gonna step through the evaluation of each step of that. So the first thing it's gonna do is go to the innermost expression, and so it's about to evaluate +2, 1, and you can see there's the result. Over on the right there is 3, and then the result of that whole binding expression was 3, and so then it's actually printing out, let's see, result there, and now it's going to evaluate the print, which was 3. You can see it printed 3, and so then now it's about to, it's at the very end of the let expression. And so the result there is 3 again. So I don't know, I think that's pretty cool how you can just, so what you can do is if you want to go to like, here's an example of a like function that I use in Prelude a lot, which is like if I'm in a project, like let me go to like Ember.js, for example. If I want to go to the component file, I've got this thing that will actually search for it. So that's let's look for like component.js. This is just an example. So a thing to hop to a file, open it, and like search inside the project and jump to a file. It's pretty. So if I want to see what function that is, I can say describe key and oops. I can say describe key and I hit the actual key binding and it says, well, that's bound to projectile find file. So which is in here, projectile.el. So I can look for, you can see projectile find file. So now I can hit Control U, Control C to instrument that function. And then if I'm back in my in like my project buffer, if next time I introduce that function, you can see it pops me right there back to the find file, and I can step through. You can see. Let me put the messages buffer over here so we can see what's going on. Oh, well, it's not. Well, you're just gonna have to follow along on the mini buffer. It's pretty. I know it's pretty small from back there, but I can just hit spacebar to actually.
Oh, spacebar is stepping through.
Yeah, is that projectile current project files? It's returning all the files there, and the kind of nice thing about it is it only stops and steps into the functions in which you've marked as you want to instrument, and there you go. So you can see. So I actually really like this feature when I'm kind of trying to figure out how the hell does it actually, how do you write elisp? Well, let me just set a breakpoint in one of the commands that I use all the time and see how it does it, and that's a good way to get a finger hold. So then, if I go back to this thing, usually, I want to just do a regular Control C to reevaluate the function with no instrumentation in place. And so now it won't. Now if I break there, it's not gonna I can implement that find function, and it's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna break. So that's all I got. But learning about that definitely made it feel a lot less like I was flailing around, and made me feel like I could get in there and really like explore what was happening. Just being able to step through it, and it's pretty incredible how everything is really, it's live, and you can just edit and funk in little bits of, you can change functions right there in line, and
So the reason why I'm interested in you personally is I want to automate my test kitchen runs. So inside of Emacs, so it can be like, I'm because of you and RVN and RSpec mode, I never leave Emacs. I just do my unit test. And the next step for me is my integration tests. And my challenge is, and I was actually going to work on this later tonight, I found a guy who was also on the, who's willing to pair with me for a bit. But what I wanted to learn how to do is kind of how you have the split buffer there. I want to learn how to then, I guess, run a shell command.
Right.
How would you do that?
So what you want, actually, you should go watch the video on compilation mode that Eric did.
Right. That's what I just.
Yeah, you want a compilation buffer. In fact, so what's the command that you want to run?
Just chef exec.
So the easiest thing that you can do is you can say metax compile, and then you want to say like chef exec, foobar. Now this is not going to be found on my thing. You can see here's actually it's running the compilation bar inside the. And so what you're gonna, there's probably, to make it a kind of a, you're gonna want to, instead of calling it interactively, you're just gonna want to call the compile function. There's a whole suite of compile, but I would read the documentation in compile.el. And he actually gave a pretty thorough workdown of all the different things, and so your stack traces in there, are they going to be mostly Ruby?
No, it basically spins up a vagrant VM and just compiles or runs all the chef commands against it. And then, I ran it inside of metax shell, and everything came out free. So I was like, well, maybe that's.
If you do it with the metax compile, you'll be fine.
Okay, yeah. Is there a way to figure out the working directory that you're running?
So there are a number of, so if you're using projectile, there's a projectile project root, and if you're not, you can use a similar strategy where I don't know if anybody has used this function before. There's some library where you can basically have it search upwards for a file, like I want to search upwards for the chef file. And I don't know what that library is, but I just know that it exists. Where you're just like, give me the directory in which this file lives. And then when you invoke the compile command, you set that as your kind of your root directory. And if you have any other code besides, like if you have shell scripts, you can, Eric showed how to do this. You can put in regular expressions where to parse the stack trace. And so that way the links inside the compilation buffer will be clickable.
That's exactly.
So is there anybody else?
I haven't done a lot of ELIS development in quite a while. Last time I did any significant thing, I found getting slime working very helpful, which is like interactive used to do common Lisp
and ELISP. So is slime like different than is it similar to isn't it similar to Cider, or was it precursor to Slider? Cider.
The state, so you can it's helpful for going like a function. It just takes you a function no matter where it exists. Source.
So how is that different than kind of the native tools for instrumentation and stuff like that? Because that's all I'm
Pretty
familiar
similar,
with.
It's just a little bit more complicated.
Okay.
Yeah, that's debugging stuff.
Okay.
It's a little bit more IDE-esque.
Yeah. Norman, how about you? You're a Lisper by day.
Yeah,
not-
I actually
not just by
very-
Emacs.
I do almost no Emacs Lisp.
Uh-huh.
Mainly because I don't know that much Emacs Lisp, and everything I'm doing is closure related, so I just write closure code to do the same thing. Because lots of what we need to do are, because we have the REPL, the closure REPL, and usually usually the most I want to do is set a key binding to invoke. In order to do something in your REPL, you set these REPL commands. So I need to invoke a certain REPL command, and then we do all the logic on the closure side, and we just return that back to your Emacs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the extent of what I usually do. The most that I've done, pretty much, really.
Okay.
I found whenever I tried to do something really complicated in the US, let's just do this in a different language.
Yeah.
But that's only because that's what I'm working with. If I were working with things that I didn't already have, like I didn't already have that REPL environment set up, then I would need to jump into it more. I'm curious though whether or not you guys use the Emacs Lisp REPL, the IOM or anything like that, or I guess Slime.
I have used IOM, I think.
I'm just curious if you, because I naturally gravitate towards that when I'm doing stuff, rather than just evaluating things in a file. But I notice a lot of Emacs guys, they just eval in a file.
Yeah, you kind of jump up and down between the commands and eval.
I'm used to jumping up, popping that over and then going and interacting with my statements.
Yeah.
Because that's my closure development model there. So
Right.
That's when I do.
Is using a REPL?
Yeah.
Huh.
So you just pop up here. That's what I've done. I don't actually see many people do that. So I was just kind of curious to see.
Yeah, what I do, so the only significant amount of DLisp that I've done was some hacking on JS2 mode. And in that case, I mean, it was in a file. And so instead of using a REPL, I would really just jump around the file and then, especially for the defunds, just, editing them in place or instrumenting them and hitting Control-C. So it's kind of like, it kind of blurs the line between a REPL and editing a file. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I've never actually, I've seen IELM, but I haven't actually.
Yeah, because you go there and so even if I have a function, like if I were defining a function, I would define it in a buffer, then I switch over there. I'd be that out of the function, and then go over the REPL and
actually invoke it?
Start invoking it or playing with it like that way, rather than meta-X-ing that function.
Oh, right, like doing metacolon to do an eval just there. Yeah, I could see that. I think that function that we.
Yeah, it'll be right there.
Yeah, oops, it's still instrumented, in fact.
See, I'm just used to working from that side when I do something. But I just very rarely see people do that in Emacs.
Right.
Whether because they don't know or because the normal Emacs stuff is just powerful enough to do what you want.
Yeah.
But being like completely REPL oriented is just how my natural default.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be kind of like.
You do automatically, you can write a short thing and test it.
Yeah.
If you want to read your command, you just up and change the argument, right?
Yeah. So is Slime still maintained for games?
So yeah, I mean, it's been a couple years since I have it. But I know one of the big features that has a crazy
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the level of auto completion that they've got. Like, for pretty much everything. What is landmark?
Yeah, I thought Slime was just for the other list, not for Emacs list.
Just for Common Lisp.
Well, originally all closure stuff. When I first started closure, I used Slime. Right? because that's what that was what we were sort of adapted from, you know, Commons and some of the other stuff. But I didn't know that there was that it was a dev environment specifically for ES2.
Right. All right. Well, should we talk about like subjects for next meetup, so we can maybe actually prepare something?
Where's the next one?
This time in May.
Oh, wait a second.
Let's see.
May 26th?
May 26th.
I'm trying to be out of town. I think I'm going to conference. Well, I'll be probably just getting back, maybe. I look at that compile command. You can put a special comment at the top of the file.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you do meta compile, it just grabs that from the top of your file. I don't know.
So what do you do?
You make a look at Emacs wiki, or I can search for it. You put a comment which is hash minus start minus compile command colon both, and this is your command, so that it automatically populates it when you go compile.
Oh, you mean like if you you mean inside the actual command itself? If you just put compile, then Emacs will enter compile mode.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because you can do that like you can do that with all your. It's just a magic comment, right? You can tell inside the file what mode it should be.
Looks like local variable,
Mm-hmm.
compile command.
Yeah, that's a good subject too. Like customize, like file variables and local or directory variables are actually pretty cool. Like you can specify like directory local variables so that if a file is in this directory or below, you can customize the mode. Like you could, if you wanted, for example, by default, what's a good example? Like, so like you use RSpec minor. Does it ever annoy you that sometimes you can be editing like a YAML file and the RSpec minor modes file like bindings aren't available? Like you have to switch to a Ruby buffer. You can do things like you can have variables. It's like all the files in this directory have RSpec minor mode, like no matter what, and you can set that as like using your dir locals. Which are stuff. It's kind of like having like a .rvm file for a project or something like that, where you can configure what modes are available, what variables are set, and stuff like that. We could talk about that. That might be. That might be something worth covering.
We talked about Helm.
We have not talked about Helm. If someone wants to give I don't use Helm, but I hear there's some people who are just gaga over it. But it's like that.
With Helm, so I use it.
Really?
It's pretty. I mean, how I do everything.
Okay.
So I mean, I can do a presentation on Helm, just kind of spur the conversation. If that's cool.
Yeah, I love them.
Really?
As well.
So do you use what does Helm do?
Basically, just like another interface that you want to
Mm-hmm.
kind of combine positions together. So,
Nice fuzzy mechanism also.
yeah.
So you can just do like
Yeah. Here, let me. Or do you want to jump onto the
Oh,
thing, and I can give you the screen that way.
okay. Oh, the irony of it, I actually need whatchamacallit, the
Have you guys?
You need the event page?
Hydra thing that's all the rage in Emacs?
Hydra?
Hydra?
No.
Just, that seems like it defeats the purpose.
Well, it's kind of like Elm, but for the Emacs interface, but very customizable. So it's like, the idea is like, you want to do something with the file, you hit Control F, and then it presents you with like actions.
Oh, right.
So it doesn't have very discoverable user interface,
Right.
right? So we're gonna try and discuss that.
I have a thing called, what's it called? I have a thing called guide. So like if I hit Control CP or like that, it shows me
That's what I got too.
all the commands.
Totally, yeah, it's similar.
Similar to guide.
Like more, Hydra's all very customizable.
Yeah.
That's not such a do a help on mode and like read 50 things.
Yeah.
Find new commands, that's nice.
Yeah, and so it's actually nice too if I like I'm trying to think if there's one that's got
Control HM, I like that. That's a nice area. Control HM.
so like here's one S is a prefix command, so it's like recursive too. So if I hit S, it can show me I've got two things under S, which is projectile, grep, and projectile AG. So that's, but the thing is you have to explicitly tell it which prefixes you want to trigger.
Oh,
Yeah. Make
yeah,
even,
I'm terrible with keyboard shortcuts, so I'm kind of interested in this Hydra thing, so it's just customized and stuff.
well, so it sounds like I would definitely like to learn about Helm.
Yeah.
Can I volunteer one of you guys to give it?
No, I was about to be say the exact same.
I don't know much about it all.
How long have you guys been using Helm?
I converted it from Smex, because I like the I can't seem to get on the thing of the life of me.
Really?
But I just kind of like the matching of it, and I like just the way it kind of worked. And I don't know if there's anything specific, that I've changed around. So yeah, here we go. So I'll just put this in the what should we call it? The meetup link, and we can just show. And this is all the configuration I did to it. Sorry, just. So.
Did you put that on the?
Yeah, on the.
Is a comment?
Yeah. So basically, all I did.
Here, let me put this up on the screen first.
Like, this isn't sexy by any standard.
Right? So, yeah, we're looking at your screen basically.
Yeah. So basically, I changed meta X to meta X Helm. The one thing that I had to do was the tab completion. I don't know if you use the tab completion in Helm, because traditionally the one thing that most people get stuff about Helm is tab complete doesn't work. So if you've got to use the tab complete, you just, it pops up another options to like execute files and stuff like that. It's driving you crazy. So you have to do this line 34 to convert to tab complete, because it's designed for teaching you fuzzy matching. So, and then there's a Helm Mini, which is a nice mini buffer attached to it, and then find files. As you see, it's really not crazy by any standard. It just all the default stuff that's changed there. And then the kill ring is really nice too, because you can fuzzy match against your main kill ring, so you can just pull stuff out of it.
Interesting. Huh. Well, like I said, I would love to see one.
Sure.
Do you think you can-
Well, I mean, this is basically a presentation.
Right.
But yeah, I could actually demo some more of it. There's a built-in Google. There's a really nice tutorial on it that has like Helm is crazy powerful. So you can kind of just add stuff, and I can pull some things out.
Okay. Does anybody here actually use Hydra?
I've just been playing.
Do you want to give like a?
Probably not.
You sure? All you have to do, all it takes is 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, okay. I could probably-
And I mean, there's the bar's pretty low.
I was gonna say, one of the things I like about Helm is like the open buffer, the default open buffer thing has like a combination of your buffers and your recent files.
Uh-huh.
Those have all just together.
Right.
So, you don't have to think about, oh, am I using a recent file or is it open right now or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
That tells you
Or-
stuff.
yeah.
You can
Maybe-
actually get anything on it too, if I remember. It doesn't.
Yeah, fuzzy matching or meta X or whatever is very handy as well.
Oh, yeah, just real quick, if you go back to them, or did you already do this?
Go to here.
This one's really neat. The Helm Google Suggest, what I tried to Control C and then G, it'll actually pop it up inside of Google inside of it connects to Google and does a suggestion. for
Really?
Google, and you can actually Google off of Helm.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
So, I mean, like, that's actually pretty good results right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Gotta get out here by noon.
Yeah, we're supposed to be out of here by noon. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. So you're going to talk a little bit about Helm,
Sure.
and you're going to talk a little bit about Hydra
No problem.
next. Because it helps when there's like our best attended groups, or when people know exactly what they're going to be getting.
Get people to come.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I'll make an ass of myself.
Yeah. Probably only about for a couple minutes, but I can definitely.
All right, a couple minutes, all it takes. All right.